I'm here to provide context for the songs of Rodgers and Hammerstein, songs that we know and love and sing all the time. I'm here to give you an idea of what makes Rodgers and Hammerstein Rodgers and Hammerstein. Their songs remain as popular today as when they were first written. Their last song, written 70 years ago, was Edelweiss. These songs are still played over and over. The names Rodgers and Hammerstein have become essentially one word. But before them, there was Rodgers with heart, and there was Hammerstein with lots of other people, including Jerome Kern and Sigmund Romberg. So each had lives before they worked with each other, beginning in 1943. If Richard Rodgers had never met Oscar Hammerstein, he would still have been the preeminent Broadway composer of the era. He started out in 1925 with a show called The Garrick Gaieties, written with Larry Hart, his longtime collaborator. And even in his first show, at the age of 23, Rodgers wrote a song that would stay immortal, I'll Take Manhattan. He and Larry wrote songs that remain part of the standard catalog today. They wrote songs like My Funny Valentine, Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, and Blue Moon, among many, many others. Even though they enjoyed an unbroken string of success, the relationship of Richard Rodgers and Larry Hart was crumbling. Richard Rodgers knew he needed to do something, now to move over to Hammerstein. He started his career earlier, in 1920. Throughout the 20s, he did well. He had two large hits, Rosemary and Showboat. But the 30s were tough for Oscar. He found that by the end of the 1930s, people didn't want to work with him anymore. So like any good amateur, he never stopped working. He kept working for himself. He started by trying to adapt Bizet's opera, Carmen. And while he was working on that opera, World War II raged, and Paris fell to the Nazis. Oscar was so brokenhearted about this situation, he felt he had to write something to commemorate his feelings about what he remembered of Paris. So he wrote The Last Time I Saw Paris. That song won Oscar an Oscar. For Oscar, looking at his Oscar was like looking at a retirement pocket watch. It was like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. But while he was working on Carmen Jones by himself, he gets a knock on the door. The knock was Richard Rodgers inviting himself over for lunch. It's 1942. Richard Rodgers pours his heart out to Oscar and tells him that Larry Hart, his collaborator, is killing himself with drink. What should I do about it? Richard Rodgers asks if Oscar would be willing to ghostwrite for Larry Hart, since he can't work on his own. Oscar says, no, I would never ghostwrite, nor would I ever break up the then most successful duo in Broadway history. But Oscar said, if there ever came a point when Larry Hart couldn't work and you need somebody, I would be glad to step in and try to be helpful. And the rest, as they say, is history.